So today's video I'm going to discuss how to learn to code. And essentially coding is something which you need to do to communicate with the computer, and coding involves writing certain statements in a programming language, and this programming language is then used by the computer to perform certain calculations which you want it to do, or to perform certain tasks which you have asked it to do. Now, essentially, just like human beings communicate using languages, you communicate with the computer using programming languages. The computer actually does not think in programming languages, it thinks in terms of bits and bytes. And so, this programming language which you use to communicate is then converted into a lower level language, and this language is used by the computer. Now, if you look at history, various programming languages have been there, and you must have heard about some of these languages. For example, BASIC, Fortran, Pascal, C, C++, Java, Python, Julia, and so on. Now, let's answer the first question, how to learn to code. So my personal philosophy is that it is best to learn to code from a book, or in fact nowadays from videos, and not necessarily by sitting on the computer and typing puerile programs which boost your confidence and then trying to go on to larger programs while you are still sitting on the computer. And in fact, this is the way I learned to code when I was a UG student. And this was in a numerical computation class where we had to write programs in Fortran, and we essentially wrote these programs on paper with pen, and we submitted this as homework assignments or as projects or as final tests, and these were then graded by the professor. Now, at that time, we did not have access to computers as UG students, as computers were only permitted for UG final year project and for graduate students, and it was not considered that classwork was sufficiently important for using the computer room and the computer facilities. But this type of training helped me very much, because when I actually went for my BTech project and for my later graduate study, I found that I used to like to write my program sitting in my room, and then I would go to the computer and type this program, compile it, and then run it. And in a majority of cases, I would say 99.99% of the cases, my programs would run on the first try, and they would be very efficient, and I would get the solution straight away. And I found that some of my friends who had access to computers and who would spend a lot of time sitting on the terminal and typing out their programs would actually spend a huge amount of time in getting their programs to compile. And this was largely because people made a lot of typographical mistakes when they type in their computer in the program. They also make logical mistake in terms of control flow and so on. And they can in fact introduce various bugs into the program while they are trying to amend the program. And most of the time is spent in introducing bugs in the program, then removing these bugs, then introducing new bugs and removing these bugs and so on. So this is one of the reasons why programming takes so much time. And I think this time can be reduced if people actually spent a lot of time preparing these programs on actual pencil and paper type of situations. Now, this is very similar to the process by which we learn mathematics. We essentially first look at the theory, we look at a few solved examples, and then we go to the end of the chapter and try to solve the problems which have been given. And this way of learning mathematics generally turns out to be the best. And then when you are presented with new problems in any exam, you are supposed to use this particular knowledge which you have gained from this study, and then you are supposed to answer these questions. So computer programming can be learned in a very similar manner and in a much more efficient manner if you learn it from books. And of course, there is a lot of free material out there in terms of videos also for those of you who are more inclined towards listening rather than reading. Now, actually, what is a computer language or a computer programming language? It's somewhat similar to a language which is spoken by people, and it has a vocabulary, it has a grammar, it has a syntax, it has got variables, it has got certain statements such as if then else statements, for loops, while loops, and do loops. You also have statements such as read, print, write, and then you have statements to get out of the loop such as break statements and so on. So essentially all these are put inside a computer program, and typically at the end of the program there is an end statement which ends this particular program. Now if you think about it, many of these loops simulate real life situations. For example, in real life also you have many situations where you are going through if then else situations. For example, if you give a certain test, then you get into a certain university, or while you are studying for your PhD, or while you have received your PhD or not received your PhD, you continue to do research and write papers. Similarly, you can simulate a for loop in a situation where for the period where you are trying to pay off your mortgage, you need to continue working on a job. So many of these things are similar to real life situations, and in fact if we think about it, our life is essentially spent in while loops, for loops, and do loops. Now let's look at some of these languages. So I would say if you look at some of the languages which have come up over the past few years, I would say that C is a language which is closest to the computer in terms of its thinking. And in fact, if you are a C programmer, you will realize that C puts you in touch with a computer because it is closest to assembly language programming. And also C has features such as pointers which can be used to write very efficient code using matrices and vectors. And this is something which I realized later when I took a graduate level class on numerical computation and I wrote programs in C, and I could profusely use pointers to really write efficient code using the C programming language. And again, C has some very good classical books which you can read to improve your knowledge. Now, if you look at Fortran, I would say Fortran is an old-fashioned language. It's a top-down language from the times it has come. It is in a situation where a boss is telling his subordinates things to do, or a military commander is telling his soldiers something to do. So essentially in Fortran, you are telling the computer to do something. So it's like a typical top-down language. You're not necessarily close to the computer like you are in C. Now, if you look at C++, I think C++ tries to think more about the people who write programs than about the computer. And this is a next level of thinking where people wanted to write programs which are simple to understand in terms of the teams which they are working, or if the person leaves his job, a new person comes, then this person can particularly follow the program which has been written. So this became an important issue in various software companies, and so there was a proclivity towards C++. This thing continued to increase, and now you have Python, and Python tries to make the programming language very suitable for a large number of people. So essentially Python is very similar to the English language, and Python breaks down many of the rules which were established in the later languages such as in Pascal or in C++, where you try to form certain rigid frameworks so as to not allow the unstructured approach which languages like BASIC and Fortran had, which led to a lot of bugs creeping in, or which led to a lot of problems in terms of debugging programs which were written in Fortran and BASIC. So again, C++ and to some extent Pascal, I would say to a large extent Pascal, tried to fix these issues. But in Python, again, they have discarded some of these issues in terms of preference to readability and simplicity. And I would say Python also distances you from the computer, but this is a language where you are giving more importance to yourself and less importance to the computer. But the strong point about Python is that it is free. It comes with a library known as NumPy, which contains a plethora of functions which are very useful for different tasks. So if you are used to writing subroutines in Fortran for solving linear systems or eigenvalue problems and all kind of matrix multiplications and so on, you will find it simpler in Python because there are a lot of libraries which are there which you can use instead. Now, we can ask the question about when should we learn programming. So my personal philosophy is that you should learn programming as soon as possible. So once you have learned a language to communicate with different human beings, you are actually ready to learn a programming language. because besides human beings, and for some extent for some people, instead of human beings, computers may be the things with which you interact the most. And here I am speaking of computers broadly in terms of computers, phones, and various digital media. Now, programming will help you understand how computers think, and this will also help you become more rational in your actual life. So, as you grow up and you become a teenager, you will be less exposed to the randomness which comes through these teenage years because of the lack of rationality, and you will be able to think in a more logical manner, which is required of today's people. So, of course, what is a good language to start with? I would say the best languages to start with are C and Python today. And again, as I mentioned before, C is a good language to start with if you want to be close to the computer, and Python is a good language to start with if you're more conscious of your own need for simplicity in life, as well as your desire to write programs on various aspects such as data sciences and so on. But of course, as I said before, C is very efficient and fast, and if you want to write code which is almost real time or real time, then C is the language to go for. Now again, some of you may question what is the rationale of learning a computer language from a book rather than requiring a computer. And this is very similar to learning a language such as French or German. You don't need to go to France or Germany to learn French or German. In fact, you can learn these languages in your native country and go to those countries, and typically if you have learned this language well, you will get along very well. Similarly, if you learn a computer language from a book, you will find that when you go and type this language in a computer, your programs will work out very well if you have learned the language very well, as if it is a piece of mathematics. So this is something to keep in mind. So just like you do not need to go to France to learn French, you do not need to have a computer to learn a programming language. And this is particularly good news for people who may not have access to computers, who may not have access to the particular compilers required to compile C, C++, Python, Java codes and so on. And this will help various people to learn coding before they actually have access to the computer. And then they can just go on the computer, type that program, and lo and behold, they can see the results coming out like magic. So I hope this video was useful to you, and I tried to give you some of my insights on computer programming. And please stay tuned to my channel for more videos on such topics. Thank you very much.